Well, P226 nut, VG10 animal mother, whatever the channel name is now. You'd made that video for me. It was very thoughtful. I appreciate getting a feature length video for a response to something that I had to do a second take on it, but it was still. I mean, I didn't put a whole pile of time into it. You put a lot of time into that, so I really appreciate that. You covered a lot of ground in that video. When we're talking tools as well, one of the things with tools I that I didn't mention and I just hadn't come up was when you were talking hand tools. So one of the brands of hand tools that I use, and I don't use it for all things, because you know my affinity for Vaughan hammers, but like my fencing pliers, I actually use. Some people are going to roll their eyes. I use Pittsburgh. I use Pittsburgh for two reasons. And if you're not familiar with Pittsburgh tools, they're sold at Harbor Freight. I'm sure you have a Harbor Freight where you are. They're all over the United States. And I have to say, the fencing pliers, they're a little big, a little bulky, a little heavy. They have like a rubber sleeve over the handle that kind of slides around a little bit, so I'm tempted to strip that sleeve off and do like one of those. You can get like those grippy plastic dip for tool handles. I'm tempted to do that, but the beauty of Pittsburgh tools is that if you tear them up, you bring them back to Harbor Freight, and they'll just give you another one. So for I think that for certain tools, that might be an answer. I don't know. You'd also mentioned like with animals and machines and stuff like that, and I agree with a lot of what you said there. I've rode horseback before. I've worked off horseback a little. My only two problems is that I haven't rode in quite a few years. I wasn't that good of a rider when I did ride, and I can't throw a rope for beans. But hey, it's not a bad idea. I mean, a horse is a lot of work, a lot of training, but it's definitely would be a good thing. I kind of like the donkey idea a little more, just because of the fact that they do make such a good pack animal and a livestock guardian. Which I definitely want to get a couple of donkeys when I have the land to do it. I get like the standard size. They seem to be the best. It seems like when you get into the miniature ones are kind of more of a pet, and the mammoth ones are kind of big for nothing. It seems like. Also, too, you'd mentioned with vehicles and tractors and stuff like that. My people kind of did the same thing too. They kind of transitioned to like 3-ton single axles, half tons, and a lot of them like those little Ford 8N and the little Massey Ferguson tractors, which really was kind of the equivalent of having a team of Percherons, but you didn't have to worry about feeding them and putting them up and stuff like that. They didn't get sick and stuff, The land thing, you brought up a lot of good points. I had heard, and I hesitate to bring his name up because I know you've had some bad blood with him. I used to listen to Bear Independent a little bit. he mentioned that he said if you have 1 acre of land that you could have no grocery bill. I don't know. There's definitely ways to maximize what you have. Um, you also mentioned like some, like with different fences, and another good fence, especially for sheep, is if you run box wire and then 3 strands of barbed above that. Box wire it can be a little bit of a bitch to splice and stuff like that, stretch, but it's doable. Um, the You mentioned with some buildings. I don't. I think your TP idea. I don't know. I don't have particularly strong feelings on it. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's not the route I would go. But you probably could get into a TP for. Uh, I don't know, probably $500, unless you made it yourself somehow. That's an option too. Yurts. Now you were talking going someplace like, I think like Arizona or New Mexico. If you were out there, a yurt might be a good idea. But by and large, yurts, the problem I've seen with them in a lot of places is that they have a lot of trouble with moisture, because you don't really have a lot of mass with the walls, and you've got that hot inside, cold outside, and stuff like that. I've never personally seen them, but from stuff I've read and watched, it seems like they have a lot of trouble with moisture, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, you also mentioned some alternative building techniques, um, like rammed earth and adobe and stuff like that. I've looked into that. Um, I don't know how simple it is. I know it's very labor intensive. Uh, I don't know. I looked into it and then I kind of moved on from it, for a variety of reasons. Uh, Might be something I should revisit. I don't know. You also mentioned like insulating ceilings and stuff like that. The main thing to remember is that you do need air movement in there. Otherwise, once again, you're going to have moisture problems, even in a very arid climate. Myself personally, there is a handful of buildings that I would look at. One is, you mentioned like those Amish pre-built buildings. That would be great. Down that same line, like Home Depot has like those sheds. And out where I am, there's a couple of different companies that do them too. So they kind of get a little bit competitive with each other. So that's good. But you can get something a decent size, um, and you can kind of figure out how to lay it out best to make use of the space you have. Uh, Another option is a garage package, but a garage package, the price can start to go up because of the fact that you're pouring a pad. When I would build a shop, I would put a pad anyhow. That's just me. I think 4 inches of 30 MPa concrete with rebar in it will cover you for pretty much most things. Um, and I actually, myself personally, I have a very specific idea on a shop. It probably would need its own video. Um, and I also would look at. You mentioned like something for defense, and this could be used for defense as well. I would probably use it more for hunting. I like the idea of building, when I get some land, to build an elevated blind. So building something that would be, say, 8 by 8, 8 by 6, about 8 feet off the ground, and like you could have like a cot in there, chair, little burner, right? Sliding windows, so that it would be over, say, like an area where, elk or mule deer or antelope, um, go through, right? But you could also have that as a defensive position or offensive, or I don't know, something like that. Definitely some sort of early warning, I would tend to think. But yeah, so you covered a lot of ground there. I hope you don't mind making response videos rather than your regular ones. Um, I could go into the stuff on vehicles and tractors a little more. That would probably require its own video. I don't know how much time I have on YouTube to make a video. I think I got to keep it under 15, but I don't know. Anyway, everyone, take care.